Hello and welcome back to How to Homeschool in High School. The goal of this podcast is to educate on what homeschooling truly is and to help encourage and equip you to take ownership of your education. In this episode, we're going to dive into step number 4 in your homeschooling journey. Buckle up, because this is where it all gets real. Be sure to stay till the end of the episode for this week's question. And if you're new here, hello and welcome to this very fun corner of the internet. Hopefully you will be encouraged as you begin your homeschooling journey. Before you can listen today, you need to go back and listen to the last few episodes, starting with your homeschooling why and why it's so important. I believe that is episode 7. And you need to start there, episode 7, then episode 8, and then you can begin listening to this episode as well. Because we are going through the steps of homeschooling in high school, it is really important that you start at step 1. Okay, so just as a review, because it's been a while since we had an episode, let's go over the first 3 steps that we already covered in the last few episodes of How to Homeschool in High School. The first step was find your homeschooling why and make sure it can stand on its own 2 feet. The second one was, that's right, plug into your homeschooling community, which I will hound every single episode, and this one is no exception. It's back. So make sure you do that. And then step 3 is research your homeschooling requirements for your area. Answer the questions that I listed in the show notes of the previous episode. Make your plan and know your stuff, because that is going to be important going into this episode and especially important going into the following episode, episode 10, which I will talk about in the next few minutes, I guess. So, without further ado, let's get started with step number 4, choose your path. How are you going to homeschool? So very much like your homeschooling why, this step is going to be incredibly unique to you. So no path is the same. So make sure you don't think that your homeschooling needs to look like my interviewees' homeschooling routines, and especially mine. So don't think it needs to look like that to be homeschooled. To be homeschooling, as long as you're pretty much completing the requirements that you found out you needed in the last episode on researching your homeschooling in your area, your requirements, as long as you are doing that and you are learning, you are succeeding in homeschooling. It doesn't really matter how you actually do it. So here is my encouragement as we begin to explore these paths. Don't be afraid to choose the, quote, wrong path. I know a lot of people are afraid of life, of taking the wrong path, taking a wrong turn, but in reality, that's just a part of life, right? We have ups and downs and lows and highs, and we take wrong turns. What matters is what you do with that wrong turn, and sometimes taking the wrong turn will lead you to the right path. So I hesitate even saying wrong, because there's truly no wrong way to homeschool. Just not everything is going to work for you. So don't be afraid of trying some things out and then ultimately not liking them, or trying things out and liking them. So I'm going to take you through these paths one by one. There's 6 of them. And we're just going to talk about them, talk about what kind of people would normally like that sort of path, that sort of way of homeschooling, right? And then I'm going to throw in some of my experience as well. And just as a note before we begin, I will be doing interviews with actual people in my community who do these things. And I will actually mention them as I go along, but in more depth over the next few months. So that's kind of what our interviews are going to be focused on, is like these different forms of homeschooling in depth. So just look forward to that. I will be doing those pretty soon. This is think of this episode as an overview of what is coming, and just to get you an idea of where you want to be heading. So the first path, and I gave them all really fun names. Well, they're not really fun names, but I think they're cool. So the first path is called the parallel path. It is the school from home approach to homeschooling. So it closely follows the traditional schooling path, but you're just doing it at home. So this is what what people call cyberschooling. So cyberschooling is a great way to get the feel for school at home, but you don't have the responsibility of handling everything like the curriculum and your time management on your own. I don't know very much about cyberschooling and how it works with credits and transfers and diplomas and all that stuff. Those would be great things to research if you're looking into cyberschooling. According to usnews.com, in their article titled What Families Should Know About K through 12 Online Schools, 35 states now offer, this is a quote, 35 states now offer free online public school options. So 35 out of 50. Check to see if that is including your state. I do have a list of states. If you're in Pennsylvania, I know that Pennsylvania is one of those states. And then I don't know anything about other countries when it comes to cyberschooling. I don't even know if that's an option. I know what I'm going to talk about next, which is just online schooling. They do have you can do it from other countries as well. So that's something you would have to look into on your own. While this may be a great option for school for some people, and maybe it is even is for you, it does not offer as much of the freedom when it comes to what you learn as other homeschooling options. But you will still be tied to the public school system in some way. So if you don't feel like breaking completely away from the public school system and you kind of just want to be at home where you have a little bit more flexibility in your time management and things like that, then this would probably be a great option for you. I wanted to mention it because it is school from home. But I would say it's not exactly a homeschooling thing, as homeschooling that we've talked about over the past few episodes. Just want to mention it, though, it is a path that you can take. The second path is the digital path, or the online schooling path. You will most likely have to have a bit more control when it comes to what you learn on this path, but your time management is still very much, it's not that flexible, especially if you're doing a live online class. But we'll get to that in a moment. This is course specific. So if I want science, I can get science from this company, and then I can get history from another company. This is the difference between cyber school and online schooling. Cyber school will map up your entire year for you, while these course-specific online courses will only give you one, and then you can pick the other, and you can mix, match, and everything like that. So I do a lot of online schooling, and here's why. If you agree with me on these points that I'm about to make, this might be something that you want to look into. So you enjoy having a teacher to talk with and answer questions. You need more than just reading a textbook to understand things. You love open discussions with your classmates about the topics and hearing their questions. You want to be held accountable to a teacher outside your parents and outside yourself. You want deadlines, and here's why. Homeschoolers, if there is one negative thing that comes, well, there's a few downsides. There's always a downside to anything you might do. Here is one of them that comes with homeschooling is sometimes we're really bad at deadlines because our parents are our parents, and sometimes they can give us a lot of grace. And this has happened to me on multiple occasions where a paper has been due and I have been like, well, I'm not exactly done, and they're like, oh, that's okay, take 2 more days. When you're in college, you can't really do that, and I understand that. So something great about having online schooling, cyber schooling, co-ops is you're accountable to another teacher besides your parents. Even though your parents are great, sometimes they can be a little bit too lenient on those sort of things. So I wanted deadlines. That's one of the reasons why we started doing online schooling. You need to learn languages, and if your parents aren't fluent in another language, as of my parents are not, you need some sort of teacher to help you with that. That is a great place to do online schooling. Okay, so the next one is you don't mind reading off a computer and being on the screen for most of the day. So a lot of my textbooks are online, so I'm reading off the screen, and I wasn't actually looking forward to that, but it got better. So you just kind of have to get used to that. You prefer doing classes from the comfort of your home. You need to be able to work around your schedule. So with the online classes, like I mentioned, they can be live or they could be self-paced. My sister and I did a math course last year called Shoreman. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It was self-paced, so I could skip a day if I needed to. He also has live options. The live options keep you on a way tighter schedule because, you have to read and you have to do the assignments before the next lecture and you have to be there. While the self-paced course, if you need to skip a few days, you can. And usually those self-paced courses come with videos, so you can watch the instructor. And then they also come with some sort of direct link to the instructor, so you can email him questions as well, or her questions. So that's a great option too if you're like, I need a more flexible option than being stuck on video calls, at certain times a week. I need to be able to bounce around. That's totally fine. Self-paced courses will work great. The cool thing about this is you have a actual teacher that is really good at this. Like not all, like my mom, she loves writing. She loves reading. So I don't need an outside teacher for writing. I can go straight to her and she will help me with it. But I cannot go straight to her for math. I need someone else. So that is where online schooling is a great option. Here are some online schools options that I myself have done. And like I said, we will be going deeper into these things later on. I'm just going to give you a list of them. I'm going to link them in the description. All of these things I'm talking about over the next 20 minutes or however long this episode is going to be are going to be linked below. So the first one is the Potter School. And I have only done this. Well, actually, I did do this for science, but it didn't end up working out. I did this for Spanish, and my goodness, this curriculum is incredible for Spanish. That's the Potter School. I'm going to refer to it as TPS as well. So their Spanish curriculum is absolutely insane. It's crazy good. And I felt like I was partially fluent by the end of my second year. So great option for language. I've heard great things about their other programs as well. A lot of students take all of their schooling through the Potter School. It's a bit expensive, so you might just want to pick 1 or 2 classes, or a lot of kids just jumped in for language, like I did. The next one is Dive Interactive Education, which is what I talked about before with Shorman Math. The greatest math curriculum there is. I know I am biased, and I know there are a lot of homeschoolers out there who love their math curriculums, and that's cool, but I have to be biased for a moment here. Dive Interactive Education, the Shorman math curriculum, has totally equipped me. I took a college level math course last semester and I thought I was going to die. I didn't, and I credit most of that to Dr. Shorman and his amazing math. He only does Algebra 1 up to Calculus 1. So anything before that will have to be done differently, but he does live and he does self-paced. I did self-paced. That worked great for me. My sister's doing self-paced this year as well. It's working great for her. If you think you need a live teacher, then go for his live classes. But let me just say, Dr. Shorman is the best that we've ever experienced. So highly recommend. None of these things are promoted. This is just all me saying from my experience in school. Dr. Shorman changed. My sister did not particularly like math. This year, she's like, I actually like it. And I learned to love math through Dr. Shorman. So I'm just going to say it again. It's the greatest math curriculum you'll find. Okay, the next one is Berean Builders online courses. This is where I do my science. I'm taking I did a self-paced course last year, and I bought the videos. And then I'm doing the live course this year, and I'm going to say it again. I'm totally biased, okay? I'm totally being biased. That's why I'm going to have, at some point in time, I'm going to have my friends on, and we're going to have a panel, and we're just going to talk about curriculum, which is going to be really fun. And I'm going to get different perspectives because I am completely biased with my curriculum. But if you're looking for a science curriculum, Dr. J. Weil is the greatest science teacher there is. He has the greatest science books there are. He's the best. I mean, I used to not like science until I started listening to his and reading his books. Seriously, it has been one of the greatest experiences in my life and probably will direct to the future, Dr. Shorman and Dr. Weil. So, Berean Builders online classes, I highly recommend doing his live classes. He only does honors chemistry and honors physics live, but he has video recordings for physics, and I don't actually know about physics because that's a new book. He has video recordings for chemistry, which I did last year, so I did the self-paced version of it. This year I'm doing the live version, and I highly recommend that too. Like I said, it's a little more rigid, but he is the greatest science teacher ever. So please look into that. Again, I'm being biased, but sometimes you gotta be. And then the next one I have done actually for the first time this year, starting in January, is Homeschool Spanish Academy for Spanish. So I wasn't able to get in the Potter School this year due to a bunch of different complications, but Homeschool Spanish Academy was a great option. I'm really enjoying it. What it does is you literally pick the time that you can be there, and then any day of the week, Monday through Saturday, any time of the day, it's like from 7 to 6 p.m., I believe. 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Every like 15 minutes they have someone available. Really great option for Spanish. They have real Spanish speakers who teach you Spanish. K through 12, I believe. I don't know. But it's a really cool, you should look into that. I have it linked down below. Another great online resource. Okay, these are ones I've just heard about. I have not actually done them. Liberty Online Academy, HSLDA Online Academy. I'm sure that's great because you know how much I love HSLDA already. Memorial Press Online Academy. And I already talked about the fact that Potter School has other things than Spanish, and I have not done them, but I've heard great things. So I'm linking those below. Another online resource I'm going to mention real fast is Khan Academy. They are free, and I'm sure some of you have heard about it already. They are resources that are great for support and practice, but also to complete requirements. So I really wanted to take I think I'm taking like a computer coding course on there it's for free. It's crazy. I haven't started it yet because I've been crazy busy, but I would love to do it. They have just go check it out. The resources they have are crazy. All for free. So please check out Khan Academy as well. Okay, so we finished the online schooling path. That is a great option. All these new resources for homeschooling. The online availability has just skyrocketed after COVID. So it was actually quite a perk for us homeschoolers. The third path is the fellowship path. Calling on a little bit of the Lord of the Rings here, but the fellowship path is the co-ops. So what is a co-op? According to homeschoolcompass.com, which I will link in the description as well, in their article titled 10 Options for Homeschooling Through High School, The Many Looks of Homeschool High School, quote, these meaning co-ops, can range from a couple of families gathering each week to share the teaching load, to highly organized large-scale groups that offer regular academic courses, enrichments, classes like art and music, and even an annual prom. So co-ops can be really nice, just family gatherings of local homeschooling groups, or they can be these full-blown, pretty much organizations. So how do you know if this would be worth looking into for you? So do you enjoy need face-to-face interactions with people other than your family on a regular basis? You would rather someone else pick the curriculum for you and help you know what is best. You want to surround yourself with veteran homeschoolers and watch how they do it. You want an in-person teacher to ask questions to. You want to be held accountable. Deadlines again. You want to meet with your friends every week, and you want easy access to dances, graduations, and sports teams. So I did a co-op for 2 years when we lived in Florida. I really enjoyed it. It was the best thing we could have done to start our homeschooling journey because we didn't know what in the world we were doing. And these groups of families, they were either veterans or they were newbies like us. So it was nice to be able to connect with either group. So the people that are new to share our struggles and our burdens, and then the people who are veterans to ask questions to and to glean information from. So I suggest that highly if you are kind of lost and you're like, I want people that I can talk to. And this is a great way to just deepen your community, your homeschooling community. There are so many co-ops out here in like this little small town in Pennsylvania. So I'm sure that where you are, you'll be able to find some sort of co-op for yourself. Just use the Google machine, type in co-ops near me, and ask your homeschooling community if they have found any good co-ops near you. Maybe you already contacted a co-op. There is a very big co-op organization, I would say, that's very common across the country. It's called Classical Conversations. CC is the abbreviation. I will link their website below under, you'll see it, the third path, the co-op path. And I have a few friends who have went there or currently go there, and I will have them on as well, and we're going to talk about Classical Conversations. I've heard that sometimes it can be rigorous, but it is a great program, you learn a lot. Let me just say that. You learn a lot of cool stuff too. Also, the HSLDA website, the resource I gave you the last episode when I walked you through like searching up how to find your homeschool community. When you do that through their website, they're going to give you all the classical conversations that are near you. So definitely try that out if you're looking for a CC. So the fourth path I've called the classical path, which is the book curriculum path. I would highly recommend going back and listening to episode 6 when I interviewed Rebecca and Abigail and their families, and I would categorize their homeschooling journey, their homeschooling path a bit like the classical path. So they use a lot of book curriculums and they're very tightly family oriented, which is beautiful. I absolutely love talking with them. So definitely go back and look if you're leaning towards that sort of way of homeschooling. You need, what they have though, is they had a strong family unit. They had friends, someone that they could do the book curriculums with, so they're not alone, someone they could talk to, bounce ideas off, discuss what they're learning, act like a little classroom, you know? Number 2 is you need some sort of accountability system with this book system. You need due dates, deadlines, assignments, someone to keep you on track, because you're not going to be accountable to a teacher. You know, you're accountable to your parents. So it's good if you keep yourself on track, and then if you have your parents helping you keep your deadlines. And then number 3 is self-discipline, which is a great skill to learn. So if you feel like you don't have that, or you want to grow that, this might be a great way for you to do that. This is probably the hardest one to jump into, especially if you come from a public school background, but it may be worth it for you. Just do some research into it. Go back, listen to episode 6. Like I have done for the past few paths. Here's like a list of things that if you connect with, maybe you should look into this. You and your family are going to start homeschooling together. So there's your tight-knit community. You like reading and you understand text without little outside help. You're a good problem solver, or you want to become one. You enjoy a challenge and you like being alone. You don't mind being alone. You want to be as in control of your education as you possibly can. This is your way of doing that. You are a self-disciplined student, or you have someone to keep you accountable. You might have a very busy schedule, and you need ability to work around that, whether you're an actor, a singer, a dancer, a musician, etc. And you need flexible time. Book curriculums might be the way for you to go. We will be looking into book curriculums in the future. So don't worry, we'll get there. These are very popular curriculum names in the homeschooling community. We have Abeka, Memorial Press, Christian Light, Saxon Press, and Apologia. So you can find most of these through christianbooks.com, which I will link. The 5th path is the preparation path, or the dual enrollment path. So I absolutely love this opportunity placed before homeschoolers. I totally think we should seize it. But dual enrollment, how do you know if that's right for you? You want to cut down on the cost of college. You want to tackle some upper level classes. You want to get your feet wet in the college world before you go. You are self-disciplined student, or you want to be, and you are ready to work a bit harder. You want to earn college credits in high school. You think it would be awesome, which it is awesome, and you have some idea of what you want to study in college, and you want to get a head start. So that last one is kind of optional. I know a lot of people who are just doing that because, like you're taking a writing 101 class, because no matter what field you're going into, you're going to need that. Now, not everyone is going to do dual enrollment. Some people don't want to go to college, and that is totally fine. You don't need to go to college to succeed, right? That's a common believed lie, but it's not true. So if you don't want to do dual enrollment, another great opportunity for you in this preparation path is trade school, vocational school, apprenticeships, something like that to prepare you for the workforce and what you want to do in the future would be a great option to discover right now in the preparation path. So make sure you look into that as well. There are so many colleges right now that are offering dual enrollment classes in person and online. Just have fun researching it, honestly. I'm sure you'll be able to find a college near you or online, because like I said, COVID has just opened up a whole new online world for us. So the 6th and the final path that I'm going to talk about today, the Trailblazers path. This path is incredibly unique, as the title suggests. It can be an entire new way of homeschooling. It can be a mixture of different paths. This path is the one that is totally up to you. That can be quite freeing, or it can be quite terrifying in some way. And in the end, I believe every homeschooler ends up here. And why? Why do I believe that? Well, in a sense, we are all trailblazers. Homeschoolers are trailblazers by default. After we've all tried and tested these paths of homeschooling, we come to find our own. The path that God has laid out for each of us that is as unique as our own fingerprint. In the end, we end up on our own road, no matter where we start. The trailblazer's life is the life of a homeschooler. We are the ones that trudge through the overgrown grass and the swamps. We are the ones that wade the rivers because there's no bridge built before us. We are the free ones, the outsiders. And every time we walk in these uncharted territories, we leave it a little more clearer for the next person to follow. People who walk on the well-worn path may look at us and think we're crazy. Why would you choose something that's seemingly so hard and unnecessary when there is a way that's already been built before us? To which I would quote George Bernard Shaw. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. Homeschoolers are a little unreasonable, and that's okay. In fact, it may even be necessary to the world as a whole. So here we are. It is up to you now to choose. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. You can always turn around and reevaluate. Ask a lot of questions. See what method works for others based on their personality and their learning types, and then maybe imitate them and see if it works for you. The only way you're going to find out is if you try. I will do my best to help you in any way that I can to choose the right path for you and to get started and to keep going. Please reach out to me with any questions you have as we continue to quest to a thriving homeschooling life. Make sure that you write down all that you're finding and what you're thinking about for your learning abilities and preferences when it comes to these different paths, as well as the research we did the previous episode, because next week we're going to use our research to formulate our proposal and find our guide, finalizing our master plan. So you're going to need all your research and everything you've written down and everything you thought about for next week. So make sure you're prepared for that. To review, today we talked about the fourth step, which is choosing your path. The first path is the parallel path. Then we have the digital path, the fellowship path, the classical path, the preparation path, and the trailblazers path. So make sure to dig into those a little deeper. Find out what works for you, what you think would work for you, what you think wouldn't work for you. Ask questions. Look at the resources I linked below. This is exciting, my friends. Congratulations that you have made it this far. Do not give up now. This is the fun part. It can seem a little scary, but honestly, this is the part where you figure out who you are and how you learn. And it's exciting to be able to try out all these different things. So I think we've made it far enough for our question of the episode. The question that I got sent was, what is my favorite book and author? So I'm going to list my top 3 books because I literally cannot pick a favorite. So I really loved Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I thought that book was amazing. I really want to reread it again because we did it as a read aloud a few years ago. A second one I love is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. And I love the whole series, even the prequel, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. We just we're waiting for the movie, which is coming out in November. I cannot wait. And then I absolutely love the Inheritance Games trilogy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I don't know if you've ever heard of those before, but I really enjoy them. So that is it for episode 9 of How to Homeschool in High School. My email, again, is linked below, as well as my Instagram account, so please follow us on there to keep you updated on everything that's happening with the podcast. And yes, please send your questions. Look at the resources I listed below. Make sure you're making a plan so we can use it next week. And I hope you found this encouraging and helpful. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye.